Hello, hello, here we go with episode number 2 of Paranormasight, The Mermaid's Curse. I think it is called... Yeah, The Mermaid's Curse. Has a little bit easier name than the 7 Mysteries of Honjo, I guess. I will just have to get my controller untied, and here we go. I think we still have to talk to him. Is that all you wanted to talk about? There's more. No, there's more. Actually, this might be the most important part. I realized there's something I need to do after this. Something really important. Hey, so you found the lead down there after all? I'm serious. If I don't pull this off, something terrible is going to happen. Hey, I believe you. Go on, tell me everything. Damn, the music. I like this. Interesting, so this is the story chart, I assume, from this game. It's a bit brighter, it has a little bit more music than the first game. In the first game we had all these television screens shattering and stuff, right? And here I think it's more like, I don't know, written legends or scrolls or something. Yeah, and what he said about the storyteller, I mean, what he said about glimpses into the past, like this is something we didn't really have in the first game as well. So we might jump between times a lot of times here, no pun intended. Yeah, and I wonder if we have multiple characters. I mean, probably just from the layout alone. Interesting. Something I want to do. Wait, this is new? Is this the past? Like the thing in the past that happened? And this is what we played just now? Interesting. Tomokazuki. User Minakuchi, a young Kamishima man, asks his close friend Azami Kumoi to captain a boat for his first attempt at diving in the bay. However, User had a specific goal in mind, which we don't know. Right? I think. An underwater gathering, a shortcut to go underwater gathering, armor diver rank 5, high score 157 points. So this, okay, this means we can at any point just go underwater gathering. And look, there seems to be some kind of umbrella or something, because there were like 2 fishes I didn't uncover, right? And I think these are not fishes, but probably kind of items we need to unlock certain stuff or to get the full story or something, I assume. This could be very, very interesting. This would be the continuation of the story, and this would be Yusa Minakuchi in the past, I assume. Something I want to do. Recollection. A day before he sets off for the sea as an armor diver, Yusa Minakuchi asks Azami Kumoi to meet him at the Kante Kisho ruins. Yeah. I thought this would be like something like, I don't know, 10 or 5 years ago, but it was just a day before. Okay. Well, okay. August 6, 1908X afternoon. Kamishima Kante Kisho ruins. Kante Kisho ruins. This is difficult to speak out. I see. If you say you want to be an armor diver, then of course you've got my full support. But something tells me you're not just doing this for Tsuyu. People are bound to talk if you become an armor diver here. You must have some other reason, one big enough to risk everyone running their mouths. I knew I couldn't hide anything from you, Azami. It wouldn't take me even 0.2 seconds to see through one of your lies. So what's up? Tell me everything. Ooh. New music, new locations. Ooh. I should be able to tell Azami everything, right? These are the ruins of an old wartime building, the Kante Kisho. The building's been abandoned, so hardly anyone ever comes here, which makes it the perfect place for private meetings. Kante Kisho ruins. The remains of this wartime structure are located atop a hill in eastern Kamishima. It was constructed to observe the impact points of shells fired from a test firing range operated by the former army ministry at Cape Irago on the opposite shore. Similar observation facilities were also built on Sugashima Island and in Ijika, a town on the Shima Peninsula. Having been abandoned after the Second World War, the observation post has since fallen into disrepair and entry is now forbidden to the general public. Da-dee-da-da. Mockingbird stickers? Okay. Even though he's got a lot on his plate, Azami agreed to meet up the moment I said something. He's been looking out for me ever since I came back. I couldn't ask for a better friend. No. Hey Azami. What I'm about to say is going to sound pretty crazy. You still want to hear it? Sure, bring it on. Thanks. I'll come right out and say it then. I'm looking for a mermaid, and I need to find one by tomorrow. Oh, a mermaid, huh? By tomorrow at that. That's gonna be tough. I'm being serious. In fact, I've never been more serious. I really do have to find a mermaid by tomorrow. I can tell you're not joking by the look on your face. You've got some sort of reason for saying this, right? Go on, I'm listening. Thanks, Azami. He's searching for a mermaid with a time limit. Okay. Mermaid search reason. Is it okay if I talk a little about the disaster 5 years ago? Disaster, huh? If you're okay with it, sure. I was in middle school at the time and my parents had taken me out into the bay on a little fishing boat. This massive storm came out of nowhere and sank all 3 fishing boats that got caught up in it. I was the only one survived. I was the only one who survived. Yeah, it was really terrible. Southern Sea disaster. A localized storm that broke out in the sea to the south of Kamishima around 5 years ago, resulting in a maritime accident in which a total of 10 people went missing. Overview: 3 fishing vessels that had set out to sea from Kamishima were suddenly caught in an unanticipated storm and foundered, leaving all but 1 of the 11 fishermen and armor divers on board missing. When the ships were later dredged up and searched, not a single body was discovered. The sole survivor was Yusa Minakuchi, who was a middle school student at the time. His parents Tozuke Minakuchi and Mare Minakuchi, as well as Azami Kumoi's father, Kyokichi Kumoi, were among the victims. Locals in the area reportedly heard an eerie rumbling from the sea on the morning of the incident. A similar earthquake which opened a hole? Like what we saw on the sea? List of casualties. 1. Medium-sized fishing vessel Daiichi Kyozuimaru foundered. Captain Kyokichi Kumoi and all 5 crew members reported missing. 2. Small-sized fishing vessel Omei Maru foundered. Captain Yukiji Nishikawa and 1 passenger, identity unknown, reported missing. 3. Small-sized fishing vessel Minakuchi Maru foundered. Captain Tosuke Minakuchi and 1 other crew member reported missing. 1 passenger recovered with slight injuries. dissociative amnesia due to psychological trauma. The souls of... This is surely something which will become really important later. We kind of have to find out what really happened here, I think. The sole survivor. When the boat of the Minakuchi family was about to sink, Mare and Tosuke Minakuchi put a lifebuoy how do you pronounce this? Put a lifebuoy on the son Yusa and helped him escape the boat before the waves engulfed it. Despite the slim chances of survival in such a dire situation, Yusa was miraculously found drifting in the sea the next day, still wearing the lifebuoy. He was successfully rescued. Although he had no external injuries, the shock of the accident had left him in a state of confusion and he has little memory of what happened at that time. After the accident plunged Kamishima into a state of deep sorrow. Fishermen and armor divers temporarily stopped fishing to mourn, and a memorial was erected to honor the lost. Perhaps due to his memory loss, the sole survivor Yusa appeared relatively composed in contrast to the grief of those around him. Many found this unnerving, and Yusa became increasingly isolated from the rest of the community. Azumi Kumoi, himself having lost his father in the accident, tried to support him however he could, reasoning that he was still better off than Yusa, who had lost both his parents before his very eyes. As investigations continued, questions arose about what the Minakuchi family had been doing in the vicinity of the disaster despite not having gone out to fish. Yusa only remembered his parents telling him to come with them, and the purpose of their excursion remains unclear to this day. It was not long before speculation began that Mare Minakuchi had done something to incur the wrath of the god of the sea, and the islanders, already suspicious of her due to her mysterious background, were quick to condemn her, citing the sudden localized nature of the storm. In contrast, only words of sympathy were spoken for her husband, Tosuke. As rumors that Mare had brought disaster to Kamishima continued to spread, Yusa's grandmother, Tsuyu Minakuchi, sent him away from the island to board at a high school on the mainland. She had sensed the islanders' resentment beginning to turn toward Yusa and hoped to shield him from becoming an even greater target of their ire. Even now, 5 years after the accident, feelings of animosity toward Mare Minakuchi remain deeply ingrained in the people of Kamishima. With the truth of the accident still shrouded in mystery, deep scars and suspicions continue to linger in the hearts of many of the islanders. I see. This was a heavy lore dump. So, what about the disaster did you want to talk about? Well, I've recently started to remember some things about what happened. For real? I know your memories of the disaster were kind of hazy due to the shock. But it's great that you're starting to remember. Oh, but I guess it's not exactly something you'd want to remember, huh? Sorry for getting all fired up. It's okay. It actually hasn't bothered me as much as I thought it would. Thanks for worrying about me, though. It's just that... It's just that the things I've remembered are a bit strange. So I couldn't bring myself to say anything. Sorry for keeping quiet up to now. Strange, huh? Well, I can see why you would want to keep it to yourself, all things considered. Don't sweat it. So, about the accident. When we ran into the storm, our boat got caught in a whirlpool and started to sink. My parents gave me a little buoy and lowered me into the water. They were frantic. I was too stunned to do anything but go along with what was happening. And imagine that must have been really scary. The waves were knocking me around, so I took everything I had just to hold on to the buoy. Why is this word coming up so often? I need to look up how to speak this. In the end, I just watched as the boat was swallowed by the water. I couldn't do anything else. There wasn't anything you could have done. It wasn't your fault, Yusa. But right after that, this huge wave came crashing down on me. And I got dragged down to the depths of the sea, lifebuoy and all. Huh? You got pulled under? But I thought... Yeah, up until now I thought I managed to miraculously stay afloat until I got rescued. But I remember now, I was pulled down underneath the waves. Huh? I remember being caught in a current and tossed all about underwater. I couldn't breathe. I was so sure I was going to die there. But then someone grabbed my hand. Wait, are you saying what I think you're saying? I was barely conscious by that point, so it's not like I saw them clearly or anything. But I'm certain someone was there with me. Someone who grabbed hold of me and pulled me to safety. And from what I remember... You're saying they were a mermaid? Exactly. So you were saved by a mermaid? I'm sure of it, and it looked exactly like what first comes to mind when you hear the word mermaid. A real mermaid, huh? But it was a really extreme situation, so it's entirely possible I was just seeing things. Which would mean I called you out here just to talk to you about some hallucination I had. And if that's the case, I'm going to be super embarrassed. I mean, you're standing here talking to me now, right? So you must have gotten out of that situation somehow. And I can't imagine any normal person being able to stay afloat in a storm like that, let alone managing to save someone. Same. You'd have to be some sort of superhuman or something. Or not human at all. Man, who would have guessed there were mermaids here in Ise? If I really was saved by a mermaid, I owe them my life. I'd like to thank them in person if possible. Makes sense. So, that's why you're looking for them, huh? If we manage to find them, I've gotta thank them for saving you too. So, I was thinking of heading to where the disaster happened and diving there to see if I can find anything. Wait. Are you sure? You almost died there. I'll be fine. In fact, since I've never gone near there since the disaster happened, I was also thinking I'd like to do something to honor my parents and your dad's memory. Yeah, I'd like to at least offer flowers if nothing else. The others here have always kept their distance, but it's not like going there is forbidden or anything. Okay, let's do it. Thanks, Azami. I owe you one. Man, I have trouble speaking today. I don't know why. I should be able to tell Azami everything right. You really were saved by a mermaid. I guess it would be rude if we didn't thank them for it, huh? Mermaid search leads. But there's no guarantee the mermaid will still be around there, right? I'm thinking it would be good to have more of a lead before we head out there. About that, do you mind if I say something crazy? Again? Sure, what's up? You remember my mom, right? Of course I remember Mrs. Murray. Well, she wasn't originally from Kamishima, but she met my dad when she moved here and ended up marrying him. But even to me, she never seemed to really fit in here. Well, I can't really disagree there. She never spoke to me much either. Some people even outright told me not to talk to her, you know, said she was suspicious because we didn't know anything about her, stuff like that. I guess that's understandable. She didn't really involve herself in community activities and almost never participated in local events. I felt like she was always keeping her distance from the other islanders somehow. 20 years here and she was still considered an outsider. Yeah, I never knew how to bring it up to you, but I always kind of wondered, was there some sort of reason for that? Not as far as I know. Dad and Gran never seemed to mind, so I figured that's just how she was. But looking back at things now, it was pretty weird. Is she a mermaid? Mare Minakuchi. Mare could be referring to the ocean as well. Female user's mother, age unknown. Unknown? Isn't this weird? Okay. User Minakuchi's mother, having gone missing in the Kamishima Southern Sea disaster 5 years ago, she was declared dead a year later after search parties found no sign of her. More than 20 years ago, Mare Somikawa arrived on Kamishima with no possessions to her name, expressing that she had taken a liking to the local environment and wanted to move there. However, she remained tight-lipped about her background, only revealing that she was from a small town out in the mountains, and that she had to leave her home for undisclosed reasons. And although her request to move to Kamishima was accepted, many islanders remained suspicious of her. After settling on the island, she showed an interest in the Ama lifestyle and eventually took it up after displaying a talent for freediving, with Tsuyu Minakuchi acting as her instructor. During this time, she grew close to Tosuke Minakuchi, Tsuyu's only son, and eventually married him a few years later. The two would go on to have a son of their own, whom they named Yusa. Despite this, Mare was unable to fully shake the air of mystery that surrounded her, and many islanders continued to question whether her presence on the island might cause trouble down the line. Something of a free spirit, her non-conformist ways and somewhat naive personality meant that she was often absent from local activities, leading to further criticism from a portion of the population. Some also reported frequently spotting her wandering the island after she first moved there, seemingly looking for something, or catching sight of her doing something on the shore in the middle of the night. Yeah, everything is not suspicious at all. Fortunately, her mother-in-law, Tsuyu Minakuchi, was a person of no small influence on Kamishima, and no one dared to openly persecute Mare under Tsuyu's watchful eye. The three generations lived peacefully under the same roof for more than 10 years until the Kamishima Southern Sea disaster tore them apart. Since her disappearance and the disaster 5 years prior, a growing number of people have accused her of somehow being responsible, citing her various instances of suspicious behavior as justification. Well, I guess even I thought she was a bit of an oddball at times. You say that, but I think you're getting it to be pretty similar to her. Oh, what, really? Yep, what's that saying? Marching to the beat of your own drum? You're both like that. Really? I never realized. I've been so blind, a blind fool. Yep, there it is. That's what I'm talking about. Huh? But why did you bring up your mom all of a sudden? Well, looking back now, there were a few things that always bothered me. Oh? For a start, no one ever told me where my mom was from. She was also unnatural at armor diving, but I never saw her eat any seafood. And sometimes at night, she'd suddenly say she wanted to go look at the sea before going out and not coming back for hours. I guess that is all pretty weird, yeah. That's not all. When I was sorting through my mom's belongings, I found this. I usually keep it in the family altar, but I brought it along today to show you. What is that? A fish scale? It's huge. It's gotta be at least 7 or 8 centimeters long. I always just figured she would held onto it because it was a rare find. But once I remembered the mermaid, I began to wonder. What fish could the scale have come from? And why was my mom holding on to it? Oh, hold it right there. You're not saying... I am. The mermaid who rescued me back then was... myself! I'm a mermaid! I'm a merman! Okay. This is a bit... very straightforward. I think it was my mom. What do you think? I don't know. It's pretty out there. Could that even be possible? So your theory is your mom used to be a mermaid, but she became a human so she could live among us. Yeah. But she turned back into a mermaid when the disaster happened and wasn't able to come back afterwards. How does that sound? I don't know. But after hearing your story, I can't just dismiss it out of hand either. That's really the case. And my mom really is still out there in the sea somewhere, even if in a different form. I was thinking it would be nice if I could see her again. Might be because they're still treated as missing instead of dead, but it still hasn't really sunk in that my parents are gone. I know what you mean. Sometimes it feels like my pops is just going to show up at home again like nothing ever happened. Or even if your mom's alive, I guess it would be hard for her to show up if she's back in her mermaid form now. If my mom really does have some sort of connection to mermaids, then maybe that was the reason she never really fit in here. It might help clear up any mistaken impressions the others have of her anyway. Let's see. So you think that by trying out armor diving like your mom did, you might be able to find something out. And maybe if you're lucky, you will run into a mermaid in the process. Yeah. And if I really am descended from mermaids somehow, it's possible that diving might awaken something in me. Alright, I hadn't thought of that. I guess if your legs suddenly become fins, we'll know for sure you're a second generation mermaid. Okay, I think I've gotten the gist of what you want to do now. Thanks for understanding, Azami. I haven't been happy with how people have been treating you ever since the disaster either, and what they say about your mom. If there's anything I can do to clear the air, I want to help. Thanks, I appreciate it. Now I don't know how people will react if you suddenly start talking about mermaids. It might be best to keep quiet about that part for now and just say you're looking into your mom. What do you think? Yeah, I think that would be best. Okay, now we've got that settled. How about we head out tomorrow morning? That sound good to you? Yep, I've been doing some training secret, so I'm all set. It would be great if going diving helped you find some answers. What to do next? Still, having to find a mermaid by tomorrow is pretty sudden. What's up with that tight deadline? Well, sorry, I can't say right now. If we manage to find one, I will explain everything, I promise. Well, as long as you tell me later, it's all good. Oh, here's an idea. If you're in that much of a rush, how about we talk to Tsukasa and Sato? Maybe they'll be able to help out. I wonder, it would be nice to have more help. But would they even believe me? The whole thing's pretty crazy after all. Besides, Tsukasa's going back to the mainland soon. I would hate to bother her now. True. Well, still knowing Tsukasa, she might be surprisingly on board with the whole thing. See? I knew he would be here. Whoa! Speak of the devil! The woman appeared! When did you two get here? Tsukasa. Oh? Talking about something you didn't want us to hear, were you? Boys will be boys, I guess. Childhood friend Tsukasa Awao. Tsukasa Awao. Female high school student, apprentice armor diver, 17 years old. A girl born and raised on Kamishima, she has a bright, friendly nature and an inquisitive personality. Currently in her second year of high school, she boasts excellent grades and a sharp intuition. She has been staying at a relative's house in Ise City since last year in order to attend an all-girls high school on the mainland and is currently back on Kamishima for summer break. Despite this, she frequently makes trips back to the island on weekends and has been trying to her hand at underwater gathering since the current diving season began, having long been interested in the armor lifestyle. Her estimated diver rank is 6. However, her teachers have been strongly encouraging her to aim for a national university. She has been friends with Asami Kumoi and Yusa Minakuchi since childhood, with their close rapport making up for the difference in academic years, and it was more common to find her playing with the two boys than with girls her own age up until middle school. However, since leaving the island to attend high school, she has grown more conscious of the age difference and has put some distance between herself and them. She hit it off immediately with Sato Shiranami, a girl who came to Kamishima to lodge with the Wakamuras a few months ago, and was looking forward to showing her around the island and helping her adapt to life there whenever she returns home. 18 years ago, her still pregnant mother, Nagisa Awao, moved to Kamishima alone before giving birth to Tsukasa shortly afterward. Tsukasa subsequently grew up in a single-mother household. Although she used to occasionally ask her mother about her father, her questions were always evaded, so she has since stopped inquiring. However, the fact that her mother never seems to have any financial difficulty despite not working has led her to quietly suspect he might still be involved in some way. Okay. Hey, you've got us all wrong. We weren't talking about anything like that. Yeah, you gotta hear me out, Tsukasa. I was powerless to resist. I refused at first, but Azami insisted and... Oh, tell me more. You might as well admit it, Yuza. And Sato, what's with the sudden keen interest? Enigmatic girl, Sato Shiranami. Oh. Yeah, this is what I wanted to check. Sato Shiranami. Female house guest, 17 years old. A mysterious girl currently lodging with Shinobu Wakamura, a local Kamishima magnate. Roughly 3 months ago, Sato suddenly arrived on Kamishima claiming that she was the child of a relative of the Wakamuras. She showed no sign of attending school or doing any sort of work, instead spending her days holed up in the Wakamura household, leading many islanders to wonder just who she is and what she's doing there. Those who know about Wakamura's high-interest money lending behind the scenes speculate that she might be the daughter of one of his borrowers, sent to work as a domestic servant to pay off a debt, but Sato herself is extremely easygoing and doesn't seem to be bothered by the endless rumors. A huge television fan, she spends much of her spare time glued to the set in the Wakamura household, with her most recent obsessions being soap operas and 2-hour thrillers. However, she isn't all that fond of period dramas. She is good friends with Tsukasa Abao, who is close to her in age, and the two can often be seen enjoying themselves wandering the island together. Yeah, let's all calm down, okay? It's not like that. We were having a perfectly normal conversation. Yeah, sure. Anyway... Hey, don't just brush me off. You're getting pretty worked up, Asami. Yeah, don't act all innocent. You're the one who caused this mess, you know. Sorry to interrupt your fun, but I really did have something to say. Folks are worried you haven't showed up to the association meeting, Asami. You should probably get going. Oh, damn, the meeting. It totally slipped my mind. Sorry, Yuza, I gotta go for now, but I'll get in touch later. No problem. Thanks for coming, even though you're so busy. I guess we'll be on our way too, then. Sorry, but we've got some important business of our own to handle. We won't be able to help out with whatever you're up to. Recollection? Recollection! Unlocked past recollection chapter, Sato Shiranami. Advice. Okay. So you did hear what we were talking about? Only the part where my name came up. I didn't want to be nosy though. I see. Well, thanks for coming all the way out here to get Asami. I don't know what you guys are up to, but you've piqued my interest. Be sure to tell me all about it later, okay? Anyway, see you later. Come on, Sato. Roger. Oh, one more thing. You better not forget about the day after tomorrow. Tell Asami he'd be better remember too. Sure, I will tell him later. Interesting, so not her, but Sato Shiranami is another character we are playing. Like from first impressions and from the files, I would even say she would be more important than her, but I don't know. Interesting. This is our second protagonist. Yeah. Recollection, something I want to do, August 6th. 19:08x afternoon. User tells Asami Kumoi that he needs to find a mermaid by tomorrow. He decides to start his investigation by following up on a suspicion that his mother, Mari Minakuchi, may have been a mermaid. Nice. The clouds mean that this is a recollection, I assume. Yeah. Is this chapter done? Because of the, like, bleach out color. I assume so. Well, okay. Interesting, getting a bit of lore. Yeah, what I heard about the game is it's starting a little bit quieter, a little bit more, you know, relaxed than the first Paranormasight game, but apparently it's constantly pushing and pushing the unsettling vibes towards the end. Whereas the first game had massive horror spike at the beginning and then it was kind of, yeah, lowered until later. So yeah. But I'm intrigued. I will see you in the next episode. And hopefully I can talk a little bit better than I don't know what's wrong today. Okay. Bye bye and have a great day or night.